welcome to Treasury Notes, a financial education program from the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office. I'm your host, Gina Joins. In a world where technology is ever evolving, operations at the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office are constantly being updated to ensure businesses and individuals can safely and securely do business in the state. That, of course, applies to the cash management duties as well as the other programs of the State Treasurer's Office. To create a more modern and secure process for unclaimed property, Treasurer Perdue recently unveiled a new management system and enhanced website. The new design will give West Virginians an easier and more up-to-date search and claim process. And joining me now to talk more about the new features available to the public is Deputy Treasurer of Unclaimed Property, Christina Murbadone. Christina, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Gina, for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and we're glad to be back in the studio after having a little bit of time off. And a lot is going on in the State Treasurer's Office, specifically with Treasurer John Perdue's Unclaimed Property Program. One of the new things is a new website and new management system. This is going to, I believe, increase transparency, bring the system more up to date. Can you tell us a little bit about some of these changes that have been made?
Sure. So you touched on the website, and it's a great feature, and it's been completely revamped, and that's going to be immediately visible to the public. As soon as they, visit our website, they'll see all the changes that we're making. Behind the scenes, what they won't see immediately is that we've completely spent the past year transitioning to a new unclaimed property system. It's state of the art. We've taken time to update our procedures, all of our processes, and so even though that part might not be visible to the public, they will see increased efficiency from when they're filing claims or doing unclaimed property reporting on our website. So it's been a very exciting year, and we're finally here and excited to show the public what we've been working on.
And it's been a busy year, of course.
Yes.
Everybody knows everyone around the world has been dealing with the pandemic. The Treasurer's Office, of course, no exception to that. So you've had a lot of employees in and out of the office trying to make these changes to the new system. How has that gone? And really, as you move forward, how is that going to go?
Well, it has been difficult. I think I speak for everyone experiencing that right now. It's been a huge adjustment, but I've been really impressed by the Treasurer staff that we've been working with. They've been willing to make accommodations at home, come in when necessary, and the Treasurer's extremely proud, and he should be, that we've never shut down one day. We've been processing claims and receiving unclaimed property and keeping the office running during this time.
Now let's talk a little bit about unclaimed property. Every state has their own unclaimed property program. How would you say this new technology that you're now using for reporting and claiming has evolved across the board, not just in West Virginia, but for other states as well?
Sure. I think, as you mentioned, in general, technology is ever evolving, and I think all state programs, the State Treasurer's Office across the country are really aware that the unclaimed property programs also need to be evolving and take advantage of advancements in technology and do what we can to keep up to date with these practices.
One of the things I always think of when you're talking about keeping up to date is just being able to do some of this business on a portable device. A lot of people aren't sitting in front of computers anymore. Now they're using their phones and tablets and portable devices for so much when it comes to the internet, especially when it comes to something like claiming unclaimed property.
Correct, and we've definitely taken note of that. In the new website feature, you can bring it up on your phone, you can search right there, you can file a claim. So that was something we wanted to focus on because, as you mentioned, many people do everything from their phone these days. So we're glad that we're able to do that as well.
And we talk about this being a state-of-the-art system. West Virginia is one of several states who've adopted this new program for not just reporting unclaimed property and processing it, but it's the whole system.
Correct, yes. And we've spent the past year networking with other states and making sure that our practices, are as advanced as other states, if not even more advanced, because, we want to take advantage of what other states are doing, and then we also want to be at the forefront and make sure that, we're stepping out and doing what we can too.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure people know if they want to see this website, they need to go to wvtreasury.com and click on the search button or the unclaimed property link. There it will take you to this brand new site that has a lot of new features. You can see it there on your screen. A great interface. It also has a revolving countdown of how much the State Treasurer's Office has returned in the past 20-some years. So that's a great new feature that people can go see that in real time to get the tally, so to speak, of how much has been returned.
Exactly. That's really exciting because even internally when we're working on claims, every claim that we pay within that hour, the website is updated. So it's great for the public to see exactly how many claims we're paying a day, a week, and exciting for us to keep that running total right there for everyone to see.
And what are some of the other features you're going to see when you click on that search button or click on the unclaimed property icon? It takes you to this page.
Sure. And to make sure that you know it's a reputable website and it is legitimate, you have the Treasury seal at the top of the page, and then you'll have the big search button that we've just talked about and the running total. What's also really nice is that it will direct you to the 4 key areas of unclaimed property. So not only can you search and claim there, you can check your claim status by entering your claim number. And then you can also, there's a button for holders who need to report unclaimed property, and you can also visit the auction links regarding any unclaimed property auctions that are going on. So it's all front and center for the public to see as soon as they hit that website.
I want to go back to what you just said about tracking your claim. I think that's a new feature, correct? And that's something that will really be beneficial to the public.
It is, and what's so nice is, we constantly give the public their claim number for this reason. You simply enter your claim number, and you'll get an immediate update on your claim status. One, we're hopeful if we're waiting on the claimant, they'll see that right there that we're waiting on information from them. And then I think the other part is nice. Not everyone wants to make a phone call these days. They do everything from their phone, but they might not be calling from their phone. So they can check that at any time of the day and get the update on their claim.
And let's also talk about once you go online, you do a search, and maybe you found your name or what you think may be a property listed in your name, and so you decide to start claiming that property. Once you claim the property, you're probably going to get some more information. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I want people to realize that once you press send, that doesn't necessarily mean the process is done.
Yeah, and we've spent the past year revamping everything, but I think the claim process is what changed the most. Because we're definitely utilizing technology there. So the search feature has been enhanced, and then when you file a claim, now you can do everything online. So you don't have to mail anything in, but what's most important is you do need to check your email. So if you file a claim initially online, once you go through the steps and you hit submit, you'll get an email from our office, and it'll tell you the next steps you need to do, what forms you need to sign, what forms you need to mail in. If you don't want to mail them in, that's the big change these days, is that you can actually upload directly to our website. So you really never have to leave your home to file a claim with unclaimed property and be paid your funds. So that's the most exciting. And then once we verify you're the rightful owner and we receive the documentation, you'll receive another email notifying you that your claim has been paid. So again, that has been the most exciting change for us, especially during these challenging times where some people haven't been able to leave their home. Now we're completely functional without anyone having to leave to mail anything in, unless of course that's preferred.
Yeah. And they can still do that if they do prefer to
Correct.
do that.
And we've, along with updating processes, procedures, we've updated our claim form. So they'll have an updated claim form if they choose to mail that in.
And they
as
can
well.
go online and print that out or call the office,
Correct.
of course.
Yes.
That's always an option, to call the office, talk with a representative, a live person, and have that claim form mailed to you.
Yes.
Just talking again a little bit about the online system, and we talked about the fact that you would get an email confirming some details. I think it's important to note that people should probably check their email junk folder,
Yes.
because it might not always go directly to your inbox, and we want to make sure that people are getting those emails once they filed a claim.
Correct. And so a lot of our processes have been updated to be more automatic. So if you file a claim online, right now a claim specialist won't actually have to send you that email. We've increased our efficiency. It'll be automatically emailed out. And so some of those emails, you can tell with different emails you're probably receiving yourself that those can go right into junk. So it is important. And like you said, if they don't get the email, if they're having trouble finding it, just call our office and we'll be sure to explain, specifically to how to make sure they can get that email.
And you're talking a lot about uploading documentation. Maybe you scan your driver's license or take a picture of it.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't have scanners, so they can take a picture of it, upload it to the website. Once they do that, how do they know it's secure? Because I know that's a big concern for people, especially in this day and age with so many scams out there.
It is, and you can't ignore that fact. And while it might not be the flashiest thing to talk about or advertise, that was really the most important feature and most important aspect that we focused on when building our website. So we took advantage of the most secure technology that's available, and that's built into the system so that you don't have to worry about, your personal data or personal images when they're coming across the system.
Oh, that's some great news, and we've touched a lot on the different aspects of the website, and we're going to talk a lot more about it, this new website and the whole new unclaimed property management system with the State Treasurer's Office. But right now I want to pause and I want to share a video highlighting this simple new process and how you can search and claim unclaimed property right here in West Virginia. All right, you just watched a video highlighting the new improved online claim process for unclaimed property through the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office. A lot of good information there, including a phone number and website. This new website is designed to make the process of claiming your property safer and easier. Christina Murbadone, the Deputy Treasurer of Unclaimed Property, is here with me today talking about all these exciting new changes and everything that's going on in her division right now. And Christina, we talked a lot about the search and claim process for the public, and I think that will be a widely used feature on the website where people go on, they can look, search, see if they have unclaimed property due to them or maybe even to a loved one, and then they're able to start the claim process, track that claim online, upload documentation, can do really the whole process from start to finish now online. But there's also some other features on the website that maybe aren't quite as prominent. One of those features is for holders, and what a holder is with unclaimed property is basically the entity that reports unclaimed property to the State Treasurer's Office. Tell us how that works and what the new features will be for this.
Yes, we, as exciting as the claim process is, we have not forgotten about our holders. And it can be challenging for them to report unclaimed property, especially when they're dealing with several states and they have to report it to different states. So what is nice now about our new website and the reporting process is that it's more standardized with other states. So if they're reporting here, it's likely that other states are also using the same reporting feature. And so we're really hopeful that that makes it easier on them to comply with the law and report unclaimed property that they're holding. We're currently working with them to make sure they understand the system and can really benefit from how it's been streamlined on their behalf.
And also another feature that's on this website is the unclaimed property auctions. Now there's online auctions that the State Treasurer's Office does. And a lot of those tangible items that are considered unclaimed property include things that are found in safe deposit boxes at banks, and sometimes law enforcement items end up in unclaimed property as well. Tell us a little bit more about this. The auction site is up right now, which again you can get to by going to wvtreasury.com, clicking on unclaimed property and finding those links.
Sure. So right on the homepage, again, you'll be able to access the unclaimed property auctions going on. And as you mentioned, these will be items that are reported to us that have been held by financial institutions in their safe deposit boxes. So Once we receive those, we'll do an inventory of items, identify things of value to be auctioned off. And after that, we attempt to notify the rightful owner, we will auction those items, and you'll be able to access it through the website. It'll take you to the auction that's currently going on, and you can bid right on there, as well as view all the items that we have up for auction.
And you do have to register for the site, but once you do that, you can bid on those items. Now, a lot of people ask, what happens once those items are auctioned off? What happens to that money?
Correct. So we'll hold that cash the same as we would hold any other unclaimed property. Those proceeds will be held in unclaimed property, and we'll still continue to contact the rightful owner to return those funds to them.
A lot of things when you talk about the safe deposit box items, things you're talking about, we just saw coins, different baseball cards, jewelry, different types of treasures like that. Anything else that you find in safe deposit boxes?
Sure. Sometimes, and I know it's a huge collector item, if we've located some knives that are reportable to us that are kept there. The jewelry is really popular. So it's really interesting to see what people hold of value. And it is also nice when we can return those to the rightful owner as well.
Now, I know the website's very exciting. We've talked a lot about the new unclaimed property management system and all the features that are available to the public. But I also want to take a little bit of time today just to talk about unclaimed property in general and what unclaimed property is and how this unclaimed, it's mostly money that ends up in the state treasurer's office, how it comes to rest in the state treasurer's office.
Sure. So a lot of people think, how does that even happen? I would never lose track of my money. But we are holding such a large sum that you realize it happens more often than not. And that could be anything from an uncashed payroll check, maybe you lost it. It could also be from a refund from a utility deposit or a life insurance policy proceeds that no one ever claims. So things like that, if you move addresses and the business can't contact you, or maybe the business has inaccurate records, something even as simple as a typo. If the business can't make contact with you, then they're required by law to turn that over to the treasurer's office. And so sometimes we also see it if someone passes away, they can't maintain contact with their assets, and again, that'll be reported to us for safekeeping.
And I know that Treasurer Perdue, during his time as state treasurer, has returned an incredible amount of unclaimed property to rightful individuals, $225 million to rightful owners and counting, because now there's the counter on the website that shows almost up to the hour how much has been returned from the West Virginia State Treasury. And also, he broke a record this past fiscal year, correct, with the amount of money returned to individuals.
Yeah, and I think he's always focused on, or I should say he's never lost focus on this site, that we're holding someone else's money and that person deserves it. So, when you have that in mind, and the large dollar amount that we're holding, it really drives, specific outreach. We do our best to contact the rightful owner, find them, locate them. And I think, the updates we made in the past year to our website, to our system, that's just another effort that we're making to return these funds to their rightful owner.
But it's not just all about the website. You also do publications in the newspapers around the state to try to reach out to rightful owners as well.
Correct. And so we're required by law to publish all the names of unclaimed property owners that we're holding. So twice a year, in the spring and the fall, we'll publish approximately 15,000 names. It'll be owner names and cities, since we can't disclose any of the other confidential information. And that'll be distributed across the state. And as important as technology is and exciting as our website is, the publication really seems to increase our claim calls and claims that are filed. Whether it is your neighbor or a relative, it seems to get the word around to anyone in West Virginia that you might have unclaimed property. And so we constantly see a huge increase from that publication, which is really beneficial.
And talking about records, as I said, the Treasurer's Office set a record in fiscal year 2020 for amount returned to individuals. Also, earlier this year, Treasurer Perdue and your division returned a $1.7 million amount to an individual, which I believe is the highest individual claim.
Yes, it's almost breathtaking to say that number, and but it was really rewarding to return those funds. And that's not as common as the smaller dollar, but we do see that sometimes when there's a combination of properties that are due to someone, and it also happens a lot if there's an estate involved. Unfortunately, with someone's passing, they can't maintain the contact with their assets, and so over time, those from different holders can be reported to us. A lot of times we see it with stocks and dividends. They continue to earn, some of the funds after that person's passing. And so that's where we tend to see larger dollar claims. Now with that, most estate claims are more challenging to process and do require some additional time and documentation. But that's just because we have to verify that the rightful owner and the heirs that are involved receive their correct portion.
So you always do ask people, I'm sure, to be patient with this process because verification is key.
Yes, especially in this day and age with the different fraud that goes on and scams and schemes, everything, especially during this past year, there's been an uptick in it. So, we're always taking additional time that we need to verify the rightful owner.
Talking about the scams, I do want to bring up that just recently your division released information about a text scam that's going on, not just here in the state, but around the nation for unclaimed property. Talk a little bit about that and what's going on and what are some signs people should look for? Sure.
So that's a new one for us. And we were notified by other states as well as some citizens within our state that they were receiving text messages from an unknown number saying they had unclaimed funds, and it gave them a specific dollar amount and directed them to a website. So a few things there to note is that we never disclose the dollar amount. And again, that's to protect individuals against fraud and scams. Additionally, we will always direct you to wvtreasury.com. And we encourage you, if you receive any letter or things of that nature, to visit that website, look for our official phone number, call us to verify that you're, not the victim of a scam. We take that very seriously. And another thing I'll point out is that we will never send an official text to anyone regarding unclaimed property. We do outreach letters and phone calls from our office, but again, what I would really stress is that the phone calls and the letters will always direct you to wvtreasury.com, and then if you still have any questions, to call our number.
And that's all good information for the public to know, but letters do go out. And if people have questions, they can always do a search for the State Treasurer's Office online or just go straight to wvtreasury.com. Get information, get the phone number as well. It's very easy to call the office and verify that. And you do have not the whole system is not automated. You talked about automation a lot when it comes to generating emails and just the claims process, but once that claim is made, it does end up with an individual, and individuals do answer the phone and answer those questions here in the office. So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So, we've taken advantage of what technology has to offer, but you can't replace an individual being able to answer any questions or concerns that someone has. So, while the first few steps you can do all from a computer, we also have claim specialists available if you don't have a computer at home and you need someone to file a claim on your behalf, you can call our office and we can do that. And then additionally, for instance, if it's an estate claim or something that requires more documentation and it might not be as clear once you receive the paperwork from our office, we encourage you to call in and speak to a claim specialist, and they can walk you through step by step what we need to get that claim paid.
And one thing I don't think I've really brought up yet, but I think is very important to note, especially when it comes to fraudulent activity with unclaimed property, is that there's no fee to do a search and there's no fee to claim your property. Talk a little bit about that, because I know there's been some confusion about that.
Sure. There are some locators out there and individuals who will say they'll charge you a certain percentage or a certain fee to claim property on your behalf. But as you mentioned, it's extremely important to note that you can visit our website. Everything is free of charge. You can call our office and work with a claim specialist free of charge. There's nothing that our office does that will charge you any type of fee, and will return the full value of your unclaimed property.
So it's a pretty easy process that you don't necessarily need the help.
Correct, exactly. And if you do, our claim specialists are there to help you.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple process. And like I said, I brought this up earlier, but I think one of the best features of the new website and the new program is the fact that the public's able to track their claim. Once they file a claim, they get a number and they get an email confirmation, and then they're able to go back in and see what is required of them, because there will be some additional steps in most cases.
Exactly. And so, as we mentioned, when you file a claim and you receive an email, maybe that email never comes through, and in a day or two you go out on our website and check your claim. It'll notify you that we're waiting on information from the claimant. And at that time, if you didn't get the email or you're not sure what we're waiting on, that's when I would advise you to call our office, and we'll be sure to work with you.
And that can be a point where a lot of people get a little frustrated. Oh, I need to supply this, I need to supply that. But it is important, and you know, we just finished talking about scams that are out there. It is important that people do comply with those requests for the information once they filed a claim and once it's done through the appropriate channel.
Exactly. We're always making, I mean, there are so many frauds that occur these days, and we want to make sure that we're not in any way adding to that issue. So we do require some additional documentation, some personal information, again, once the claim is filed, to verify the property we're holding is in fact yours and that we return it to you.
And, you know, this is something that you've been doing for a while now. I know the staff at the Treasurer's Office is very dedicated to this purpose of reuniting individuals with their unclaimed funds. Talk about the importance of that and just the meaning to you personally about taking this on and trying to help people make sure they get what's due them.
Sure. I think what's really important is the treasurer's main focus, and that really resonates with me in the fact that it's not our money, it is someone else's money. And legally, I mean, they're entitled to it. So the large amount of unclaimed property that we're holding, it's exciting to be able to return that, to give someone back the money that they may have lost track of, especially in the past year during any type of challenging time that people go through. It's really great to be able to do that and to focus on returning someone's lost assets.
And the office still has a lot to return. Is it 300 some million available to be reunited?
Correct, over 300 million, and that's over 200 million pieces of property as well. So there's big and small in there, you know, and that's why we always encourage you to check our website and follow up with us.
And again, people ask all the time, well, what is unclaimed property? We're mostly talking about financial assets. It could be a utility deposit that you never received back. It could be a life insurance policy, that as well. A lot of different examples.
Correct. And so it's many things you might not even think about that you're entitled to. For instance, a lot of people don't know that life insurance policies may exist in their family. And if someone passes away, if they're not aware that that policy exists, then they would never be able to file a claim with that insurance company. So that's just one of the areas how that unclaimed property comes to us.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, it's been a really exciting year, and you know, unclaimed property is always exciting, but with all of these changes, it's been a really fun time.
All right. Well, we hope people go to the website and claim their property. Christina, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, to do a simple search to see if the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office is holding unclaimed property for you, simply go to wvtreasury.com and click on the unclaimed property search right there on the homepage. That's all the time we have right now. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can always get the latest news and information from the State Treasurer's Office. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Keeping you informed on the Library Television Network, I'm Gina Joins with the West Virginia State Treasurer's Office.